Yeah. What's up, y'all? It's your boy, the one and only A Switch, aka the undisputed, undefeated, uncontested social distancing champion, aka why is my strawberry so hard? Good, I can't. AKA why is his lip so soft? AKA the nigga lip master. Bringing you yet another episode of Switches Sites, episode 110 to be exact. For those that don't know, Switches Sites podcast is a video game solo podcast hosted by yours truly, where we just talk about just that. Today's date is June 24th, 2021. And as they say in French, actually I don't even, I'm gonna just vente on. Somebody one of the French listeners cannot back me up. They won't back me up. They're gonna leave me to drown. Yeah. So, well, still reeling from what E3 was. But you know, hey, it is what it was. It was what it is, you know. Yeah, at least in terms of the world, man, well, you know, same old, really, if we're being honest. But outside of that, at least gaming news, it's been some very interesting stuff popping off. And you know what? Without further ado, let's just stop the dilly-dallying and get right into it. First, oh my God, I forgot my time codes. How could I have ever been so fickle? Oh my God. If it's not one thing, it's something else, you know? When you producing and creating, managing, self-managing podcasts, of course, stuff wants to seep through the leaks, leak through this. You know what I mean. Yeah. So, I'm just gonna pass some time while I'm copying my codes. I'm gonna try to multitask as much as I can, but it's only so much multitasking a person can do when they're focused, which I am, because I am very focused right now. You know, when you in the zone, you know, and nobody can't take you out of it. You know what I mean? It's like when you in like a Zen, or I believe what they call euphoria, where, you know, you're in your zone and nobody can stop you. So that's exactly what's happening right now. In the zone, game time when it's game. The darkest before the storm. I mean, I'm just spitting out random phrases. Two bills don't make a dollar or something like that, because they're actually two actual birds. So they don't make. Okay, I've progressed enough. All right, so I'm almost there. I swear. If it isn't one thing, it's another. I thought this dude that was doing this yard work outside, and that's just the whole thing. It's like, what you doing lawn stuff at like 7 p.m. Who be catering, doing yard work at 7 p.m. Well, I guess probably a lot of people. So anyway, enough time filler as I get myself organized, because I totally forgot. But yeah, so first topic of discussion. Let's talk about Deadspace being revived, or at least as the rumor has it, is supposedly being revived, according to the infamous leaker himself. Well, one of the various video game leakers himself, Jeff Grubb. According to him, in a video stream Friday, I believe, this last Friday, he hinted at an unannounced EA title he previously discussed will be publicly shown for the first time at the July 22nd event. So, at least in terms of what he described it as, an established IP revival, and quote unquote, I think you'll be happy. And then after that, in terms of the biggest tease that was included, we're gonna see it if we're not dead first. So I mean, clearly the biggest, obvious choice would be Deadspace, which is generally one of the most popular, at least dormant IPs as far as we know currently, by EA. Of course, that has dead in the title in terms of the hint. So all signs definitely seem to be pointing to Deadspace. I can't think of any other iconic, prolific EA franchise that is currently dormant, that maybe could match the same level. Possibly, maybe. I mean, if we get real deep, personally, the NBA, NFL Street Games series, the Def Jam Vendetta, Fight for New York games. We gonna ignore Icon, that didn't exist. But what was it? Oh yeah, well, that technically was, our balls are just, our balls can only get so blue. Our balls can only get so blue for Def Jam themselves teasing us about, hey, y'all want Def Jam to come back? If so, where would you want it? Okay, if y'all follow us, if we reach 1 million followers, boy, man, Def Jam is definitely going to for sure happen. And then it did, and then didn't hear nothing. So that's still where we're at with Def Jam. So, yeah. But at least in terms of Deadspace, I played Dead Space 3 a long time ago and beat it. I think I messed with some of the DLC as well. I'm not sure what could happen. I think they have a lot of options they can go with. Of course, they can do the reboot route where, they just straight up start from scratch and then start Dead Space all over again. Maybe, new protagonists and all that good stuff. Maybe, keep some of the similar story elements, maybe beats from the originals, and, kind of deviate and go from there. Or, because I believe Dead Space 3 wasn't necessarily super conclusive, but I don't really remember a lot of it, and I know for sure I beat it, but maybe they could continue it, but I don't know. I feel like, being a whole new studio that would be working on it, I find that hard to believe them going that route. I don't think that I don't think that's gonna be a thing. I don't think. I don't think it will. Um, yeah, I really think it's gonna be a straight up reboot. It's a whole new studio that's touching the IP. Believe is Vish Vicious I want to say Vicarious, but I know that's not it. Um, Deadspace developers. Visceral, new as a V. Visceral Games. I know the studio is gone, or they probably been dispersed into other people, other companies. But I think it'll probably be a reboot. I would be very surprised if they actually continue the mainline original series. But I mean, it's a possibility. But I'd be very surprised, considering they wouldn't want to be constricted. I would assume anybody picking up an existing IP try to work within the confines they have. I feel like they would. I think it would be more fun as well for those devs to kind of branch out and take this time to think of something new to like kind of turn the series on its head and reinvent it, and make it more engaging in some aspects, more interesting in other aspects, and things like that. So I do not know. I think I feel like it's definitely going to be a reboot, but I would take either or. But I guess at least personally what I would want from the series, if it were to come back and or reboot it, is just to keep the very atmospheric horror, ambiance and all that good stuff. Keep that tension, keep the jump scares and the freaking crazy ass enemies, and of course the gore and graphic gore and stuff, and all that kind of collides together to give you very immersive horror game. I think that's essentially what Dead Space is. Isolation. Just straight up isolation and space. I don't isolation in space. Dead Space. Cool weapons, and of course the I wouldn't be too bothered if they messed around with the limb dissection mechanic, if they were to maybe do something else or do something different from that. But I don't know. I feel like that's so iconic for Dead Space, and it made so much sense considering they're aliens, and the only way you can kill them is to dissect their bodies, where dismember their body parts. Personally, I think if they keep all of that in Dead Space, have a pretty good story, they will be able to successfully revive Dead Space. This supposedly is going to happen at the July 22nd event for EA. I believe it's EA Play, I want to say. So only time will tell. Only time will tell. Moving on. I had to check my time. I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't look right. So you remember that one game, for the fighting fans out there, you remember that one game after Tekken Street Fighter Cross Tekken, that was gonna be Tekken Cross Street Fighter? You're not alone. I think a lot of us have. It seems like it's still no progress being done at all. Supposedly they're at 30%. So this is basically from an interview with Harada. I think his weekly show. I believe he's hosts the weekly show, and it came to pass talking about Tekken Cross Street Fighter, and he answered it. But it looks like it was just mistranslated, at least at first, due to somebody translating it. They thought he meant that the series is actually dead, like the project is canceled. They just weren't being public about it. But Harada actually cleared up that that's not the case on Twitter regarding it. So I guess at least to rewind it a little bit. So at least the mistranslated quote was the interviewer asking the question, Tekken X Street Fighter, and then he said, "Yeah, development stopped, but we got about 30% done. We wanted to show it, but the project died." So apparently, somewhere in there that there was some mistranslation, and then Harada clarified that at least somebody following up and reaching out to them directly regarding the rumors and whatnot, that's not cool, Harada, I guess, in terms of somebody made a tweet like basically listing in subtitles what was translated supposedly, and then it got to him, or somebody mentioned him and he saw it either way. But then he said, "Yeah, that's not cool. Please read my explanation. You can see that the impression is quite different," which I have not seen until now. I'll try to skim through. I'm sorry, this is the second time I've misled you by the way the subtitles were written and worded. Last time we had another misunderstanding about this case. First of all, at around 21 minutes, 25 seconds, he says some Japanese text, Ima tomete masuyo, which I know I totally butchered. I'm sorry in advance. Which means it's pending state, similar to pause. And this is the same word we have been talking about before. So up to 30% of the development was in progress, but now it is still pending, as opposed to ended, which was the mistranslation. This is still the status of the project. So basically, it's still alive, more or less. It's just in this weird development limbo for like how long, since what, I think it was announced in 2011 at EVO. At least Tekken Street Fighter Cross Tekken, which came out and wasn't, at least personally, wasn't the best game, I thought. I know there's definitely, of course, as any game, some hardcore fans for it, but at least now, man, it's been like what, 12, roughly 12 or so years. 10-ish, about 9-10, give or take, that we've not seen nothing regarding Tekken X Street Fighter. So at least it's still alive, just still dead. Well, still alive, but maybe in a vegetative state, but at least it hasn't been totally squashed. But at least it's built up enough like speculation and suspicion that when it actually finally gets announced, it'll hopefully be hype. So whenever that comes to be, I guess it'll be soon to be discovered and or found out. But at least talking more about the interview, he's like, next we were talking about artist collaboration starting in minute 22. This is a story about how we had a famous artist draw a certain illustration for us during the development of Tekken X Street Fighter. I say Okara Iri ni Natan Dayo na in Japanese about this illustration collaboration. For some reason, the meaning of the word Okara Iri is project died, but the original meaning of Okara Iri is to be shelved or to put in storage. So, of course, that's definitely, where the mistranslation probably comes into play. Man, of the many times mistranslation has got some of these journalists in trouble. It's understandable because, man, I am not trying to play when it comes to that. But, so basically mistranslation, Tekken X Street Fighter is still alive. Whenever we'll see that, hopefully I'm not dead before then. But yeah. So at least the air has been cleared. At least everybody, including myself, was a little bit little let down, a little disappointed that it was dead. But have no fear, Tekken X Street Fighter is still here. Whenever we'll see it, who knows? So cool. Jesus. Oh, what happened to my mouse? Hope I figured it out. So I mean that kind of I know that's maybe why some people were kind of suspicious, not necessarily suspicious, but I don't even know what the right word would be to describe it, but you know, with Akuma's inclusion in Tekken 7, at least now, well, before we found out it's still alive, that maybe people were thought that maybe that was like a background deal between Capcom to, like, you know, appease the Tekken Cross Streeter. Tekken Cross Streeter, that'd be weird. Tekken Cross Street Fighter aspect of the you know, of their deal, because I'm pretty sure it's like some joint exclusivity thing where, you know, of course the game that already came out, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and then Tekken Cross Street Fighter. Well, at least, yeah, you would assume should have came out maybe 2-3 years after Tekken Cross, Street Fighter Cross Tekken. Jesus, it's getting complicated, but either way, Tekken Cross Street Fighter still has some fight left in it. I'm so sorry. Some fight left in it to fight in these streets. I'm so sorry. I should get a boo sound clip, but you know, the way the mixer set up, I only got so many buttons, and then I have to move some other buttons around, and it's just a priority. It's a priority thing, you know. I always get applauded, but I don't get booed, so I don't know. Moving on. Ghost of Tsushima is rumored to be getting some DLC, baby. Ghost of Tsushima, man, is a pretty awesome game. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I actually platinumed it. Not to toot my own horn, but, you know, BB. So, which is kind of ironic now, it specifically in terms of how this rumor came to be. But basically, Ghost of Tsushima standalone expansion, kind of think Uncharted Golden Abyss and Spider-Man Miles Morales, where they're basically literally, you know, separate releases, but, you know, essentially DLC, but, you know, totally separate, where you're not required to have the main game to play it. Is rumored to be currently in development, and the supposed title is Ghost of Ikishima. So, and I guess the part I find funny is that this is supposedly leaked by Xbox era co-founder Special. Oh, I see. Special Nick. It's spelled like SHPESHAL. Special. That's kind of cool. That's creative. You gotta give that man his flowers for that. Who's proven to have a pretty reliable track record in past leaks. So that is apparently a thing. Totally is not surprising in terms of how successful I feel Ghost of Tsushima has been and currently is in a lot of ways, especially like the multiplayer is surprisingly pretty good, at least from what I played. And of course, just the main game and the combat and overall exploration. They did a lot of really awesome things that I appreciated in terms of, like, you know, mainly being respectful of your time, which is I always appreciate in games. You know, hey, find 250,000 golden bats, and but you got to chase them around, and if you lose it, you're gonna have to go backtrack like 5 minutes in a map to the start point. No, I won't. Stop. Please stop. If you're still doing that. I can't think of anybody that's still doing that, but so yeah, I could definitely see this happening kind of in the same vein as like Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, where basically they'll probably maybe bundle this with the main game, make it a PS5 version copy of it that includes this DLC, and sell it that way, and then additionally, sell it to PlayStation 4 users as well. That where maybe they can buy it separately, or maybe potentially, I don't know, maybe they could add it to the existing game. But I mean, at least going by the previous expansions and at least the rumors that this is standalone, I guess that's the case. But if anything, it'll just be probably a separate physical or digital release expansion. I guess I'm curious who would be the main character of this one. Since at least the title, this rumored title, at least implies that there's another ghost of a ghost of Ikishima rather than Tsushima. So I mean, maybe it's I don't think you can't. I'm not sure how the official rules of ghosting. I don't know. It sounds like a foreigner, and I don't know how the rules of being a ghost is in Tsushima, but like I don't think you can be a ghost of Tsushima as well as Ikishima. That doesn't make sense. I need clarification. Thank you. I'm trying to think. I would assume because it's separate. That makes me think that it might be some room for like just this being a totally like separate standalone, even though of course it is standalone, but maybe being completely separate from Ghost of Tsushima and not having any ties in terms of the like characters, or maybe something very loose in terms of character relation of like the main character. At least that's my initial suspicion. Maybe you could be that one girl, that older woman, I forgot her name, but maybe you play a younger version of her. Part of me feels like there's some continuity with this with the main game, that they will try to give some fan service to people that played the original game. So I don't know. Let's Ghost of Ikishima. I feel like that's been mentioned. Maybe that was a continent or something, that like a location that you saw in the game that maybe you couldn't go to yet. Because I'm just going to show how graphically challenged I am right now. Not having any recollection of location at all. Because I believe, at least, going off the the extras and stuff of the game, I know, of course, obviously it was based around that whole the conflict between Mongolians and Japanese people and stuff. So yeah, I guess I think it's maybe not too hard to, like, I guess, deduct that it's gonna be in Ikishima. I mean, how would you be called Ghost of Ikishima? Well, it could be the Ghost of Ikishima treading its way in Ghost of Tsushima, and then you fight. I'm gonna call him Ghost of Tsushima. I forgot his name too. It's been so long. Has it been like a full-blown year since this came out? I think so. So who knows? But at least, yeah, it seems like there's a lot of ways they can go with it, to be honest. But hmm, yeah, that's all we have to go off of by now. But maybe this probably might be announced at the I believe there was rumors that there's gonna be a PlayStation announcement event, or PlayStation State of Play direct State of Play, um direct direct set of play forward, um something like that coming up. Yeah, I think it was by the end of this month. I know PlayStation would normally like announce it like the day before and then just drop it, and then oh my god, oh man, I'm not ready. So cool. I would be down for it. Definitely curious of what it could be. Um, what separates it from Ghost of Tsushima? How is it gonna do that and separate itself? And if it's gonna be something worthwhile. I mean, for the PS5, I know they're. I mean, if the PlayStation 4 is any indication, they put in some work for that game. So I'm looking forward to it. See whatever it is. Fine. Let me find out. Moving on. As somebody who works in IT, all IT fans, IT people groan in unison as Windows 11 has been like, well, I mean, it was leaked, I think, last week or a couple weeks ago, and people actually were getting builds of Windows 11 and like messing around with it and stuff. Like I think I saw Linus Tech Tips, like their whole very interesting experience of like trying to work around so many hurdles to actually mess with the interface and things like that. So I only bring this up on this podcast because there actually is a lot of gaming related stuff to kind of divulge into from this. So yeah, either way, Windows 11 has been announced. It's going to be a free upgrade to Windows 10 if you have that, of course. It was a couple interesting tidbits to take from it. At least, of course, it's like a totally different UI, or revised UI. It seems like it kind of reminds me slightly of Mac in some ways. I guess mainly the bottom taskbar where all your programs seem to be like centered. if we're thinking in like Microsoft Word and stuff, they seem to all be all your icons seem to be centered rather than like left to right, more centered in the middle. Then there's a new store which also will weirdly incorporate Android apps, but it's very complicated in terms of them implementing Android apps because it's Amazon's Android app store. So basically like potentially some limited apps where it's weirdly just you have to sign into Amazon to access those Android apps, when why can't you just natively access the Android apps? But it's some backdoor shady deal. Shout outs to Easy Allies, but yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, there's also a PC health check you can download and see how your PC is not gonna handle Windows 11 and tell you your PC isn't shit now. So if you want that, you want you want depression, there you go. I ran it myself. It seemed like everything was fine. It didn't tell me outright, and it seems like they did reveal the requirements, the minimum requirements at least. Is all you need is a PC that meets the minimum hardware requirements for Windows 11, which is now 64-bit CPU, which is that's actually kind of cool. Like, it's kind of annoying, the whole confusion between 32-bit versus 64-bit, and most people generally use 64-bit. It's like, why would you need to use 32-bit? Well, I guess in scenarios where you don't do anything necessarily super intensive. Either way, so 64-bit CPU, 4 gigabytes of RAM, and 64 gigabytes of storage. And they say Windows 11 will be delivered through Windows Update in the same way as Windows 10 updates have been made previously. So, all in all, that's pretty cool. And yeah, of course, some of the standstill, programs and icons looked, of course, different to imply significance and change, but we'll see. Another big revelation is that Xbox Game Pass, which at least for PC, in the PC realm of things, is referred to Xbox Game Pass for PC, is going to be natively within Windows 11. So I guess basically on a fresh install of Windows 11, you'll have Xbox Game Pass by default in terms of the apps. So that's pretty cool. And then probably the next interesting topic is the fact that that for the storage component for Windows, in terms of the new well, I guess for Microsoft it's referred to as Velocity architecture, I believe, where it essentially utilizes the NVMe SSD speeds of the new faster PCIe Gen 4 NVMe drives to basically, be able to access those drives quicker using the PCIe Gen 4 lanes. I'm sorry I don't mean to get all technical, but I'm just trying to explain it. But at least on the PC front is referred to as direct storage, which at least was, during NVIDIA's RTX announcements where they, hinted at that, that's going to be a feature down the line in terms of being able to bypass the CPU, which in turn will let you access resources much faster, and in turn, result in a lot of faster streaming of data and things like that. So, yeah. So apparently, it seems like this feature may be exclusive to Windows 11. At least previously, it seemed like it was gonna be available on 10 before we knew about 11. But it seems like this is gonna be exclusive to 11, Windows 11. But what's weirder, at least as of now, from what we know, I know things could probably change at some point, but is the fact that the minimum requirement for direct storage is to have a 1 terabyte or greater SSD, which is, I mean, to be honest, a little big of an ask for, a standard person who just wants to, just get some direct storage going. I'm trying to think why they would require this, but the only thing I can think of is just maybe potentially the amount of assets, and or maybe just to give you more wiggle room, or the operating system more wiggle room in some way to maybe better allocate data in some cases, or something. If I could even think of something that maybe would be logical for this, but I don't know. It's like, if you want direct storage, yeah, I guess maybe if you just only play one game. But I mean, considering just the increasing demands of games and storage and stuff like that, I mean, I know I personally would not just settle for 1 terabyte if it was just me. But I get it. Yeah, 1 terabyte it really is a huge ask for it. And then who knows if this is going to be mandatory in terms of does this direct storage drive have to be your C drive, at least generally according to Windows, or is it is there some weird stipulations there? It's hard to tell, but yeah, if anything, that seems to be the case. I think they do also will like notify this. This is gonna be like the new buzzword that's gonna be on games. Like, it seems like the term is direct storage optimized for Windows 11 PCs. It seems like it's gonna be. I would assume it'd just be pretty easy. Like if it's a game that's gonna, they're already developing for the Xbox Series X, it seems like it won't necessarily be too much of an ask to kind of translate that to PC. I think I'm curious if how this will play when it comes to like Steam games and other games, like versions of the games that don't that I guess are in any other store except Windows, or Game Pass. That's kind of like what I'm very curious about in terms of like, will it be like, I doubt Microsoft would do it, but be like, well, this direct storage is only exclusive to Xbox Game Pass and Xbox store owned games. At least going by previous behavior, Microsoft hasn't necessarily been like strict or stingy about stuff like that. But then again, this is probably the first like physically revolutionary kind of implementation of like, I don't know, dedicated technology for games specifically, if anything. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that kind of plays out, and if hopefully Microsoft won't. It seems nowadays Microsoft is way more flexible, and I think just all about at least getting you into their ecosystem rather than being stingy while you're inside their ecosystem. They just want people to, I think, more so just download and install Windows 11 and go through the loop of painful potential PC issues and things like that. I'm just thinking from an IT standpoint, man, it's just gonna be just, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but speaking from an IT perspective, in terms of what I've seen, at least on my line of work, is it seems like Microsoft does not efficiently bug test a fair amount of their like software updates enough to the point of minimal issues. Now who knows, with this new operating system, maybe they are taking a bigger initiative in terms of beta testing and QA testing and stuff for software now, but at least in terms of past experience, it just seems like they want the user to do all the troubleshooting and issue resolution first, and then they react after that. Not every single update, but I mean, I don't know, just some. When they're horrible, they are horrible. That's, I guess, maybe what I'm more so getting at. I remember what it was Windows 10. It was some particular update in Windows 10 around last year, maybe 2019, where it was some update that like totally like just wiped, not necessarily wiped, but just I think in some way or another corrupted the OS by right after updating it. So I literally had to pretty much start from scratch, reconnect everything in terms of like, directories, and just a painful process. So stuff like that I'm not looking forward to, and I'm, at least after having the experience like that before, is painful and annoying in all fronts. At least, especially work is one thing, but like home use is a whole nother like kind of realm that is just as much annoying, because like after troubleshooting issues all day and then coming home troubleshoot more harder issues, I'm all right. Please, no, stop. Please stop. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents from that perspective. It seems like Microsoft is definitely making some interesting moves. At least now it's really cool that they are actually embracing PC more in terms of making it more friendly for games, and making it friendlier for the gaming race, gaming population, which of course they've done in some aspects previously, but at least now it seems to be like a forefront, at least of course the biggest being the Game Pass implementation and stuff. So we'll see what happens. Cautiously optimistic. I am sure as hell not jumping in no beta anytime soon, at least after considering some of those experiences. But either way, cool. I'm definitely very curious to mess with direct storage when that becomes widely available, and or at least eventually upgrade to a machine that implements or has that capability. At least currently I do not. So I guess we'll see. But good on Microsoft. It's like Windows 11. What? At least they didn't skip her number. Windows 12. What happened to 11? What happened to 11? And I thought with Windows 10 that was gonna be it. I think that was the word on the street, that Windows 10 was gonna be it, and then they would just keep making iterations and updates. But maybe I guess from some standpoint, maybe they just want to mitigate, and I guess more so just mitigate like issues and problems where it just be so many versions and variations that potentially that could be it. But I don't know. I feel like that's not a necessary mandatory thing, but who knows. Anyway, I forgot to code that, I guess. Keeping that keeping that Microsoft train going. Chee. So Kim Swift, probably don't know who I just named, but she's probably mostly known for Portal. I believe she's also worked on the Left 4 Dead games 1 and 2. Let me look up her history. Kim Swift. That's a dope name though. I wish I had a name Swift. Just people just assume, hey, or no, they just making dad jokes. Hey Kim, stay right here. I'm not a dad though. So, Half-Life 2 Episode 1, Episode 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2. I guess that's her latest in 2017. Quantum Conundrum. I know that's popular with some people. So yeah. Word on the street is that she supposedly, and that of course yet again, Jeff Grubb with them deeds, leaked. I think somebody else found this out and then he confirmed. I think he was gonna reveal this on a Giant Bomb show, but come to find out, apparently she's gonna help Hideo Kojima make his Xbox game. So, at least the rumors that it's gonna be something to do with the cloud infrastructure. I know Xbox has talked about it for the longest. It feel like I know the big like marquee game that was supposed to really showcase this was Crackdown 3, which I did not enjoy personally. I just played after playing a little bit of the first level. It's like, yeah, this is rough. But either way, they're apparently, presumably going to use the Xbox's cloud architecture, which I believe is Azure, and basically with the creativeness of Hideo Kojima, supposedly make a new game, a new IP. I would assume. I don't think it would be anything existing. Considering I'm pretty certain console exclusivity to Death Stranding to PlayStation, of Death Stranding to PlayStation. But man, it's like considering how creative she is, especially with Portal, how just mind bending that game is with the craziness and convolutedness of Hideo Kojima. I'm not sure if I'm ready for that. I'm just gonna be have goosebumps for no reason. It's like, I can't. I'm just you're waiting for like the crazy moment, like the prolific moment of the game, and you just having goosebumps. So, it's like you're flinching the whole time and you're not ready for it to happen. But just imagine somebody playing this game when and if ever it comes to be, and you're just flinching the whole time. I can't. I'm not sure when it's gonna happen. Yeah. So, hey, Hideo. I mean, I'm still a fan. You kind of burnt me with Death Stranding. Hopefully, director's cut is gonna be good. Maybe redeem some of the people who weren't the biggest fans of Death Stranding. We'll see. Pretty cool though. Yeah, man. Hideo Kojima making an Xbox exclusive game. That is pretty crazy when you think about it. Xbox exclusive. Yeah, it's hard to envision what that's gonna look like. But I'm all for it if it's true. So, well, there you go. Moving on. Insomniac, of course, they just released that fire that was Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Of course, they made the Spider-Man game as well as Miles Morales. But on Twitter, they said they are hiring, and they specified multiple openings for a multiplayer project, at least specifically systems designer for multiplayer. So, of course, obviously, that definitely seems to imply that their next game, whatever it's going to be, is going to be multiplayer, of course. So, my immediate reaction, yeah, Spider-Mans. That's literally what it's going to be called. Spider-Mans. That'd be kind of cool. People were saying Spider-Man. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Spider-Verse co-op game. That'd be kind of dope, actually. Maybe have some continuity from the movie into the Spider-Verse, where you literally can play multiple Spider-Mans. Somebody gonna have to clear up the plural. You know what? Let's Google that right now. What's the plural version of Spider-Man? I guess it would be Spider-Man, technically. Since man is the head of the phrase, we apply the plural marker there. The plural of Spider-Man is Spider-Man. Okay, so part of me just wanted to be ignorant. But, yeah. Spider-Man. I'm trying to think. I don't think it'd be Ratchet and Clank, because, I mean, we just got that. Potentially Sunset Overdrive. I don't think that game was multiplayer. Pretty sure it wasn't. And then there are the rumors that the it's coming to PlayStation. I think PlayStation 5 specifically, because I think they managed to get the IP from Xbox or something like that. Let me double check that. Let me double check. I think it's still a rumor. Yeah, potentially teased. So, that could be a possibility. I possibly what Resistance, Fall of Man. Yeah, it's a lot of options. But I'm on the Spider-Man's train. But who knows? It could be a totally new IP. Fuse, God no, or actually re-release was it Overstrike? It was some working title originally before it looked very Overwatch like. I think maybe to avoid being in the same boat as Overwatch, they totally revised their whole design or something like that, and then it looked like a just straight boring generic shooter. But at least personally, I want to go on that Spider-Man train. I want to go on that Spider-Man's train. Let me on. Let me get. I got my I got my ticket. Please let me on. Please, sir. Please, I beg of you, let me on. Moving on. Castlevania Castlevania Advance Collection has been leaked, or I think listed. Was it listed on the Australia's rating site? Yeah, Australian classification. I'm assuming it's like the Australian ESRB equivalent in the US. A Castlevania Advance Collection, and yeah, I guess it was just added June 18th. So this seems definitely very possible. I mean the Game Boy Advance Castlevania games are totally super fun. At least the one I vividly remember playing, I for sure beat. Was it Circle of the Moon? I think it was Circle of the Moon. Yeah, Castlevania Circle of the Moon. Really thoroughly enjoyed that game. I think, was it technically my first Castlevania I literally played? I think it was. I've yet to, in my backlog of shame, I've yet to play Symphony of the Night and any of the other prolific ones. But it was for sure super fun. I think this was basically, I'm pretty sure this came out around the launch of the Game Boy Advance. So that partially also got me into it. And I think, what is the other one? Area of Sorrow, and I think Harmony of Dissonance. I think that's technically the last one of the Advance line. Or was that maybe the DS one? Nope, that's GBA. Yeah, so I'm guessing, I don't think they explicitly list, no. So I guess we're left to speculate, but I think it's a pretty safe bet. It's probably just those three games bundled. Would be dope if they included some of the DS ones. I think there was ones, but then it's the whole weird dynamics of getting dual screens and stuff, which is always a chore, I would assume, for Dawn of Sorrow, Order of Ecclesia, Portrait of Ruin. Yeah, I feel like they would break that out into its own thing. So I think we'll probably at least get for sure the Advance games, which would be pretty dope. I would totally pick it up. I'm curious if, considering this was previously exclusive to the Game Boy Advance, if maybe this will be exclusive to the Nintendo Switch platform. But I feel like maybe if that was the case, they probably would have announced it at E3. Maybe it just wasn't ready yet. I don't know. But then again, maybe this is like a year out. Maybe they're just getting this whole process started. But I mean, it's already an existing game where you just have to simply port it for the most part. Maybe some emulation and stuff comes into play, you know. But I would be down. I totally would be down. That seems very likely, though. We already have some of the previous collections. Pretty much the whole, well, various of the current pre-3D Castlevania games. So it seems very likely, I think. But keeping that rumor train, keeping that game announcement rumor train going. We got Final Fantasy VII supposedly drop it on the Epic Game Store. This is according to Epic Games data tracker. I guess it's probably similar to a Steam DB. I know it's generally a database that people usually look at for things that are being updated and added. But at least in terms of the some of the programming and the code, the value is Final Fantasy VII Remake for Epic Game Store, which is slightly annoying because I'm getting tired of Epic trying to make me branch out of my comfortable ecosystem, which is Steam, which, you know, I have majority of my game library and stuff on. But I mean, hey, if it's free, I'd be fine with it. If it's like a free game they drop, it seems like Epic would do something like that, where, I mean, they've done it technically with Grand Theft Auto, where you can get the free version of that game. If you know, please download our installer so we can compete directly with Steam. And this is your natural this is your natural place now. Forget about Steam. You don't need those games. You know what? We'll buy those games for you on our platform. Epic Games Store launcher. Epic launcher. So, yeah, I would probably wait until it gets on Steam. Oh man, think of the outrage of people if it was actually exclusive to Epic Game Store. If anybody would do it, it would be Epic that would probably pull some stuff like that. Cause I mean, outside of Epic's exclusive games, you know, exclusive in-house games, I don't think there's any other games that are exclusive. I need to research this. Yeah, it seems like all of these are generally timed. Expanded list. Yeah, it seems if anything, worst case, they at least come first to Epic Game Store and then come to Steam shortly after. Which, if that's the case, that's fine. I'll wait for Final Fantasy VII Remake. I feel like the PlayStation PS5 version was substantial enough. Unless maybe 7 Remake has like 120 hertz mode for PC and like, well, I mean, that or unlock frame rates. Then I was like, oh, you tempted me. But then again, it's like I'm not dying to play it yet again on PC if it's not on Steam. Steam or bust. But I mean, I still got I still got Epic Game Store loaded though. Don't get it twisted. I'll eventually maybe play, but yeah. So hey, sooner or later you can mod. What are some unusual mods with Final Fantasy VII? You could probably put like freaking Red 13's model on like Cloud, and he just looks disfigured and horrible, and probably be the most downloaded upload on there. I mean, if we being honest, it's probably something Tifa or Aerith related, where they're maybe more scantily clad than usual. Maybe some proportions are out of place than usual. If we're being honest, I mean, come on, it's just gamers after all. So, not to take away from gamers. I mean, there's sensible gamers like myself, but there's people out there. When you can mod, you're gonna do mod stuff. But I digress. Moving on. If I can, yeah, I totally got that whole Google search distracted me. Yeah, so PS2, no, PS3, well, technically PS2, but basically, man, bless these people. So apparently, like 20 years, or man, even more, 25-ish years after PS3 has been out, apparently, I think it's technically been discovered a while back, but I guess nobody really brought attention to it. But apparently, people found a hidden debug menu. Well, yeah, I guess you would consider it a debug menu, kind of. Either way, a secret menu within the PS3. If you are playing a PS2 game, like a PS2 PSN store version of a PS2 game on a PS3, if you do a secret code, which is basically when you hit the PS button, the PS menu, where you can change like your controller and change like the analog stick to digital or whatever, from that menu, if you press left on the D-pad, square, L1 plus R1 for 10 seconds, then release, and then press start, then you'll get a secret menu where basically, at least for the game being showcased, Digital Devil Saga, which it's brought to my attention that the game has like severe lag that kind of makes it pretty much unplayable on PS3. Apparently, if you go to this secret menu, change the setting, it will actually, I believe it's like virtual VSync or something that you turn off, that I believe will actually, yeah, VSync delay, which was causing it. Now, I guess the funny thing is that on some games it's turned off, and other games it's turned on by default. So I guess maybe through like testing or something, that people deem that these were the appropriate settings, and maybe like on for each digital game, PS2 game, that it has this base template of settings applied or whatever. So pretty interesting either way. At least the options they show: L2H improvement, force flip field, VSync delay, XOR CSR, which is this definitely looks like a very much a debug menu, because these terms, except for VSync delay, I'm not familiar with them. So pretty cool little feature to give breathe some more life into some of these games, especially I believe this game in particular, Digital Devil Saga, which has is super expensive. Like I think it's $90 if you want to buy it physical today. Pretty cool alternative to give people more flexibility, especially considering the PS3 semi-imminent death in terms of the PSN story that at least the scare we ran into a while back earlier this year. So pretty cool, man. People are great. People are great. Just discovering stuff and sharing it with people. You love it, man. You love it. I love it. I know I love it. And on that very positive, warm note, that concludes the news for this week. With all that said and done, let's get into what I've been playing. And what that something is, if I could track it, Final Fantasy VII Intergrade. So, after the hype train of intermission, I was like, well, after the hype train that was intermission that I beat, and then completing Ratchet and Clank, I was like, you know what? I gotta go back. So that's exactly what I did. Pretty much loaded my save that I uploaded from the PS4 version. Went to work. Basically, I think I mentioned some of this before, but played on hard mode, where I did the chapter select and started from scratch, and fully beat it over the weekend. And man, game is great. It's crazy how much frame rate can make a difference in a game, man. And for a game like Final Fantasy VII Remake, it is just fantastic. And it so damn good. It really is. And playing on hard, at least now after fully beating the game on hard and getting the platinum. So fulfilling. It definitely, like I'm pretty sure I mentioned before, super, super high emphasis on materia, and like literally in this mode, the emphasis materia, it will either result in you living and succeeding in a fight, especially boss fights, or straight up dying. Straight up. Which, I know I've emphasized before, but man, we really are gonna need some material loadouts in at least in part 2, because Jesus, just the mental gymnastics you have to go through to figure out what's the appropriate setup is at least it really started getting annoying, especially towards the like end game stuff, like the bosses and things like that. So I am really hope we get some material loadouts. That would just make life way easier. If not even a loadout, just something to make it way more streamlined than it is. What's currently in the system is not enough, in my opinion. Especially when it comes to 2, when at least, especially from the endings that were shown, a lot of characters and a lot of switching around, a lot of parties being swapped out and stuff. It's gonna be way more of an emphasis than ever to kind of really figure out materia, and I think doing material loadout is really got to be the way to go. So outside of that, man, just playing it again, recognizing the story beats and stuff like that, I still really love Final Fantasy VII Remake, man. I adore this game, man. It's great. I really love the choice they did. I mean, what, we're a year after, so I think it's, I guess, spoilers. If you have not played the base game of Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I don't know, I'm just gonna dabble. I'm not gonna go fully into it, but yeah, in retrospect, I think it was a really awesome choice to kind of do somewhat of a satire on the games, the games, I guess, yeah, satire of basically the gaming audience that wants the Final Fantasy VII remake to be like a one for one remake of the original game, but then them you literally fighting those fans that really die hard want the game to be one for one remake, and then basically defy that towards the end, and now you're like, well, anything's off the table now, which, whew, based off the intermission DLC, literally everything is off the table right now. Shit could go any way up and down, which I am very, very much excited for. So, yeah, hype. Yeah, I think it's not anything more I could say about Final Fantasy VII Remake that I have said already, because it's great. I am definitely in the camp of really adoring the game, and it's a wonderful remake, man. It's thankfully they saved it. I know, at least doing some research on it, I know the development was very troubled in terms of, like, you know, I think they contracted it out or something like that to CyberConnect, I want to say, and then they weren't pleased with the game, and then they basically brought it back in house, and definitely the right move, because, man, the game, just everything, just this first part is definitely a quintessential remake. I'm a little concerned, I'm not gonna lie, about what's gonna happen, but at the same time, I'm very excited. So, well, I guess we have 4 more years until we see part 2. Well, you know, considering Square Enix's cadence and stuff, which I feel like I've probably made that joke before, but hey, because it's true. So yeah, pretty much after I beat that, you know, had to do it. No more heroes, it's kill me, kill him, who did by who there's no do. Hey, that's so no more heroes. Played the Steam version for PC. It came out last week, I believe, but it was so much of a sensory overload of so many things coming out. You just don't know what to focus on. But either way, I was like, you know what? Let me see what this PC version is about. I am slightly let down, not too much, but it's just it seems to be a lot of missed opportunities and disappointments in the game itself. Probably the biggest one is the lack of Joy-Con and or Wiimote Move support, which, considering Steam natively has controller support for all of those mentioned controllers, it seemed like a no-brainer, but it totally isn't. And I think what's even weirder is that deeper into the game, like, I think the mini game for in one of the segments in the game, they literally still have the Joy-Con display for, like, from the Switch version in the PC version. Like, maybe you could have revised that, at least put the Xbox one there, put the Xbox controller. And, you know, even the tool icons don't necessarily look like the still look like the Wii buttons and stuff, which is okay. It's not that's not a big deal. It does get confusing confusing slash annoying when oh man, God forbid if you like came right off the Switch version and played the PC version, because of course, you know, with the Switch has the X button on the top as opposed to the Nintendo Switch Pro controller has the X button on the top and the Y button on the left, and the Xbox One controllers have it the other way, where the Y button's on top and the X button's on the left. So that led to I adjusted after a while, but you know, the initial shock where you have to take a extra second or two and like, do I press this or do I not? Oh crap. And then you know, press the wrong button and then you fail a mini game or whatever. So super minor gripe and admittedly first world problem. But worth mentioning. Then there's this weird issue. I guess I'm still figuring out. I'm not sure if it was in the Switch version, which I don't think so, because I know I would notice it too there. But basically an issue with the camera specifically, where you know when you point up, the camera goes up, point down, the camera goes down. But for whatever reason, specifically the Y-axis for the camera, you cannot go up or down at all, which is super weird. Well, no, let me rephrase that. It's permanently inverted, where down is up and up is down, which to me throws me off because I'm used to up is up, down is down. And even if you adjust it and like invert it, which, you know, is always a weird conundrum when it comes to like Japan's interpretation of inverted and you know, the US's version of inverted, because I know a lot of like Japanese game, at least the most prolific one that comes to mind, Yakuza, where the where what's inverted to us is normal to them and vice versa. So I'm not sure if that potentially may have came into play, but I guess that's it too, because I know the Wii version of No More Heroes, you don't have a right analog stick. You technically have the directional pad on the Wiimote, where, you know, you can point up is up and point down is down on the, you know, hit the D-pad. So yeah, I do not remember, but either way, it was a problem nonetheless. I guess it's potentially avoidable because you don't necessarily utilize the camera too much since you're in combat. At least the X-axis left and right is fine though. Each one definitely worked as it should, but just some funkiness with the Y-axis. I'm not sure why. I don't know if that's just specifically this PC version or if it's also was in the Switch version. I just for some reason didn't notice, but I'm pretty sure I would. So I'm just gonna, as for now, attribute it to the PC version being wonky. The other issue that I had that I think what was it that I went blank. Oh yeah, the sound. Like for some reason it feels like the sound is like cranked up way higher. The game's native sound is too high, where at least when you're playing the game it seems to clip, and by clip, you know, where it kind of crackles. I believe that's generally the term for it, clipping, where the sound is literally too high for your speakers or whatever, which I thought it was potentially my speakers, because I know I've been having issues with my speaker in particular, where one was actually given out, it seems like, but now at least I couldn't like assess what the term is for it to kind of like, you know, actually research it. But I guess clipping is probably the best source, at least now, to look forward. Hasn't been happening since, but weird issue either way. I wasn't sure if it's maybe software related or hardware related, but it seems to be now, after troubleshooting stuff, it seems to be software related. Either way, So at least the recommendation I found for that research wise is to basically literally have the volume by half, and that generally is reduced a lot of the clipping. It still is happening to me, but not as much or as frequent, which is viable. So yeah, those are at least the main downsides. There was one issue with the when you're in dark step, which is basically, well, not dark step, but the random modes in the game, where basically this game, for those that don't know, it has this cool like random mechanic to it where sometimes whenever you kill a person, it'll do a roulette wheel, and then if it lands on get all three like a jackpot, on whatever icon that is, it'll give you a various like a power up, or kind of I will feel like there's some video game term for this, but some empowerment stage or phase, whatever, where he yells out basically shortcakes or cakes like cheeseberry on the raspberry shortcake or something like that. I gotta do it. He echoes it. Cheeseberry on the raspberry shortcake sundae. Basically sweets. And he yells out like sherbet on the dairy. Ooh, that's not what he says at all, but basically random shit like that. But it has a theme of a dessert. Basically a dessert essentially, but basically he can like go into this dark state where he like stabs people and impales them. He like does insta hits and various things like that. You have to kind of experience the game to get a gist of it fully, but hopefully I did it justice enough. So I know when you're in those states, for some reason the right analog stick is inverted too, but then again, it's like you shouldn't technically need to mess with that, but at least since the native game didn't, but because you have it, it's like I naturally want to mess with that to move the camera around and get a better view. But maybe that's just mentally my muscle memory from other games kind of coming over. So yeah. Outside of that, those are really the only. Oh yeah, I forgot. I guess it's pretty disappointing that the game is capped to 60 FPS. So you cannot, like, at least without, probably some hacks or mods that'll eventually come out, unlock the frame rate or, uncap it. Which is unfortunate. I know for a lot of games that could cause other issues, like what's the most prolific one? Dark Souls, where you can't. Oh yeah, your durability is 2 times its original speed or something like that. I forgot. I don't know. Something along those lines. Beamer, I might be. I just might be. Don't tell anybody though. So I don't know. It's a bit of a disappointment, especially when you're thinking PC. You want all the luxuries that PC has, at least specifically, increased frame rates, I forgot about the anti-aliasing option. So that's another gripe I'm having with this game, at least playing so far, is like if you, because this is No More Heroes, doesn't look to be that demanding of a game. I went to the max anti-aliasing options, and it does this weird, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like those dolls that have the or no, what is it, like people who dress like dolls or want to look like a doll, they have the they make the lines on their chins to make it look like they have a point to talk, I guess. It's like had that weird effect with some of the character models in the game where some people were like were outlined in weird spots. Like it seemed to be like points of like articulation, like their arms or places where they move, and it is very distracting, at least from what I witnessed. So basically recommend just leaving the anti-aliasing options to the base FXAA. I don't know, maybe it could have been resolution related where I was playing at 4K, and I guess that's another factor of the game. It does scale. It scales to whatever your monitor's resolution is. So I guess potentially if you balling like that, if you have like an 8K monitor, supposedly it'll scale, at least based on theory, it supposedly will scale to 8K and then, you know, probably look way uglier, to be honest. But hey. So yeah, I'd say definitely keep the anti-aliasing option to the base until they patch it or fix it or whatever. But just a disappointment as a huge fan of the No More Heroes games. You know, somebody who wanted to push this thing to the limit, having the capabilities to do so on PC, is a bit of a letdown that you don't have, you know, the commonly expected amenities that do come with a PC port, essentially. So, but other than that, like, let's say you don't have a Switch, I'd say this is definitely the next best. Yeah, the next best version, because from a base standpoint, it is pretty, it's totally playable, totally fine. Just a couple minor inconveniences here and there, but you know, I was able to play it through totally fine, no crashes or anything like that. So yeah, I guess maybe if you have a Wii, you know, hanging around, I would recommend that. Because there are a couple of, as somebody who's like played this game multiple times, like I'd say I'm coming on 10 plus potentially. But one thing that's super noticeable, you, from this one boss fight where when you get an enemy hit at you, you could deflect it towards the other enemy. I'm about to get real nerdy right now, but you could deflect an enemy towards another enemy. But in this, especially, I noticed it in the Switch version as well as the PC version, either the timing is like unrealistically strict, or for whatever reason it just does not work. But yeah, so that's probably the one big like noticeable thing that's like totally different. Is it really gonna kill you that you can't deflect enemy back? No, but it was really cool though. It was really dope. I mean, it was a pretty big factor why I really did enjoy the game, to be honest. But I digress. Trying to think, was there anything drastically different? Some of the music tracks have been changed, which I already talked about in like the Switch version. That's pretty much it, really. Outside of that, it's pretty playable. The controls, you know, going from movement-based controls to a controller is actually pretty streamlined. Like your high is one button, your high attacks are one button, your low attacks are another. Your punch high is one, and your punch low is another as well. So totally translate. And then, you know, when you do a final slash or kill hit, you just flick the right stick in the corresponding direction. So all in all, you know, I beat it last night, and man, it's great. No More Heroes is great. I am a big fan of No More Heroes, but PC version is decent. It just has some oversights which do detract it from being great. But I'd say if you only have a PC and you never played No More Heroes before, I'd say this is playable. Let me put the other preface. If you have a controller, a Xbox controller, apparently they fixed it. At least when it released, there was some issues with other controllers that aren't Xbox having issues, but at least playing with an Xbox controller, totally fine. So with all those what conditions in place, I do recommend it. If you meet all those conditions I already mentioned. So, and then of course I started playing a little bit after beating 1, played a little bit of 2 as well. And man, I get just, it's good. It's just something cathartic and like kind of in the same vein as beat 'em ups, you know, where maybe you're stressed out one day or whatever, and you just something just cathartic and relieving of killing people and they're saying I don't feel shit, or killing somebody. I gotta do it when they say what was it? I don't feel shit. What was the other one? I'm still a virgin. That one's funny. You kind of feel a little sliver of guilt. You're like, I stopped that. And then you at the same time I was like, you weren't really gonna get laid anyway. Let's. You're a bad person. That kind of helps. Cope with it either way. And then, I can't do it. I'm sorry. It's the deep voices the deep voice won't let me be great in this context. But yeah, it's great. It's great. I'm thoroughly enjoying No More Heroes 2. And, yeah, man, I do recommend it. If you're into slash 'em beat 'em ups, No More Heroes is wonderful. It has the presentation, the style, the flash, the pizzazz, kicking people in the ass, I'm sorry, I just was very compelled to rhyme for some reason there. But yeah, outside of that, pretty much what I've been playing as of late. Let's get into what I've been watching real quick. Of course, Loki episode 3, watched at midnight, and it was great. Comforting. This was like definitely a change of pace episode where I'm not to spoil too much, but basically you're with a variant, and you discover some more things about Loki as well as the variant, and then you're basically on one of the apocalyptic worlds, or scenarios or events, and some things come into play. Yeah, it was just pretty standard, wholesome, good Loki, definitely curious what's gonna happen next, of course, as a la TV, but I'm thoroughly enjoying Loki. Definitely Marvel TV streak is it keeps going, I mean, they putting a lot of money into it, to be honest, but then again, who knows? Kevin Feige, he's whatever he's doing, he's doing it right, whatever he's doing, don't stop. Don't you dare stop, Kevin. And yeah, other than that, that's been pretty much it this week. And that in turn additionally concludes episode 110 of Switch's Sights. If you did like and appreciate the podcast, feel free to like, rate, and subscribe on your favorite podcasting platforms. You can catch this live on Twitch TV /aswitch, where I do record live, ideally in the evenings. And then you can also catch the archive of this show on youtube.com/aswitch. But until next time, y'all, get your damn game on. Oh, yeah.
Nobody's safe.